Welcome to Healing Through Christ After Divorce. I'm Danita. Today we're going to talk about a very powerful principle when it comes to healing, a must-do principle. Richard G. Scott said, "If you are free from serious sin yourself, don't suffer needlessly the consequences of another's sins. You can feel compassion for one who is in the gall of bitterness from sin, yet you should not take upon yourself a feeling of responsibility for those acts." There are multiple scriptures that teaches that we are not responsible for the actions of others, but we are responsible for our own actions and will be held accountable for those actions. In Helaman 14:30 it says, "Whosoever doeth iniquity doeth it unto himself, for behold, ye are free." In Doctrine and Covenants 101:78 it says, "According to the moral agency which I have given unto him, that every man may be accountable for his own sins in the day of judgment." In the second article of faith it says, "We believe men will be punished for their own sins and not for Adam's transgressions." Those scriptures identify a very important scripture, especially when it comes to healing from infidelity. You are not and never will be responsible for the actions of your spouse who committed adultery. This week I had the privilege of doing some research on the impact of infidelity on marriages and couples. And I came across some treatments that they suggested you do with the couple to help them to heal from this experience. And I thought it was really interesting that the second one was called avoiding blame. Now, I will admit, when I first read this, I was very much against it because I assumed that what they were saying was to not blame your spouse for committing infidelity, but it was quite the opposite. As I read it, it specifically said this: "While certain behaviors in a relationship may facilitate or hinder the likelihood of an affair, the responsibility for the affair lies within the individual who made the choice to engage in it." When it comes to taking responsibility for our choices, it is also so important that we do not take responsibility for the choices of others. There is a lot of misunderstanding in the word forgiveness, and in the next couple of videos I am going to go in depth on what forgiveness is, what it isn't, and why it is really for the person who is forgiving far more than is for the person who you are forgiving. Many times we wrongly believe that if we hold someone accountable, that somehow we're not forgiving them. But to forgive, we actually must recognize and put blame where it belongs. It is an essential part of the forgiveness process. Dr. Elaine Walton said, "Blaming is the prerequisite for forgiving. In order to forgive, the victim must recognize that something was wrong and someone was at fault. Once that is established, the process of forgiving and healing can proceed." In many situations, those who commit infidelity, whether it's emotional, physical, pornography, they try to blame others for their actions. And it's so very important that you do not allow yourselves to fall into this trap. One of the best ways to avoid this trap is to reach out to others, like a confidant, to share your experience so that you can look at it from the right perspective. Dr. Elaine Walton said, "The offender's unwillingness or inability to confess does not stop the victim from disclosing the offense. The victim confesses on behalf of the offender as he or she breaks the silence and shares the details of the offense with someone, perhaps a confidant, therapist, legal authority, or religious leader. By disclosing, the victim moves out of the world of confusion, and shame is now ready to place the blame where it belongs. This was one of my shorter videos, but such an important principle that I felt that I needed to have a video specifically for this one, because so many women, including myself and family members, have struggled with feeling responsible for the actions of others and causing themselves to experience blame and guilt that they should not be carrying. This holds us back from moving forward and from forgiving others. So my invitation for you this week is to go watch my video called "Why Grief After Divorce is a Sign of Love, Not Weakness." It will take you through the steps that will help you to let go of any shame or guilt that you are carrying and allow you to grieve and feel in a healthy way.